have some staff that will be joining, and we have some students that will be joining. And right now we have a colleague of mine who is in a class of a lot of postgraduate students.
Sure. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and I hope you're doing well. So I'm very excited today as I'm bringing you along to my speaking engagement at the University of Bedfordshire Business School. My topic will be focused on how to succeed at your interviews, how to answer difficult questions, how to negotiate your pay, why do good candidates fail interviews, and finally, how do you know what questions to ask the hiring manager? Hey everyone, so I'm really excited to be here. It's such a privilege, and thank you to Dr. Kuna for reaching out to me and for inviting me. Just a little bit about myself. I manage people programs at Accenture Ireland, and I'm also an HR business partner in my own personal space. I enjoy coaching people to succeed in their career and also in life in general. And on a personal note, I'm a parent to two amazing young men who are near college age, and who knows, they might end up in a great institution like yours. I also enjoy writing, storytelling, and really it gives me the opportunity to express myself in a different light. And sincerely, I'm glad to be here today. I consider myself a student of life. I'm always learning, and I'm so glad to present today to people from learning institutions with very talented people here. And so really thank you so much for having me. I am hoping that by the time the students are coming off this call today, they will learn one or two things they can use in the marketplace from my experience as a coach, as a recruiter, and also as an HR professional. So I guess before I share anything, I want to see engagement. You can drop me comments in the comments area. Give me emojis. I love them. They make me really excited. Before we go into how to pass your interview, let's touch on career for a little bit. I think is a great starting point for people to know how best to understand their journey as a professional, and especially as emerging talents. Emerging talents are people who are just wrapping up from school or currently in school, looking to transition into that work world. What is a career? Dictionary defines it as an occupation undertaken for a significant period of a person's life and with opportunities for progression. So research has proven that we spend majority of our lifetime in the workplace. So if anything, I always say look for a job you love and enjoy working in it, rather than just settling for anything. And that's why I love education. People can get clarity from just learning, and it can propel them to what path they should follow. So really that's career. So career can be defined as profession, occupation, vocation, a calling. And I was surprised to see calling as a dictionary keyword to define career. I would have thought probably it's only preachers have a calling. So basically in our career, it can actually be a calling. So for example, I would like to say my calling is to help people thrive in the marketplace and in life. So you can also define career as employment, job, position, sphere, or walk of life. So that's incredible, right? So career is a journey, like I said here, and our journeys would differ from one individual to another. And we have doctors, we have lawyers, so our journeys would differ as individuals. So basically our careers will differ. So look at this fantastic picture that I have here. What some careers look like. In a typical sense of it, many people's careers will look like the one at the top. So go to school, have your internship, kickstart your career as an associate, in 3 to 4 years become a manager, maybe in another 5 become an executive. However, Our journeys don't always look like that. It's very smooth, no hiccups, and fantastic. However, majority of us, we would experience a career that look like the one on the bottom half. So we go to school, we start a job, or we become an associate, then we study and we work. Sometimes we get laid off, then we become managers, or some of us go abroad, we go back to school, we get that break in our career, and we do online courses, then we become entrepreneur. The bottom half seems to be like my own journey, which is fantastic. And I think that many people's journey may be like that. How to succeed in an interview. The first tip I have here is to prepare, prepare, and prepare. I had to say that 3 times because really that is the magic word for passing your interviews. So what you need to do, understand the job description and then know the organization. So for example, if I'm interviewing at the Bedfordshire University Business School, should know the school a little bit, at least know when it was created, what kind of courses they offer at that institution, what kind of opportunities are available for students. So basically, you need to know a little bit about the job you are applying for, and also a little bit about the organization where you want to work. All right. So number 2 is for you to make every moment count. Just know that just like you're interviewing for that position, so many other people are also interviewing for that position. So what that means is, for every role advertised on LinkedIn or Indeed, you'll find out that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of candidates would apply for that same position. However, for you to be the one who will land that opportunity, you do the right things first. For example, your LinkedIn has to be up to date. Secondly, your CV has to be up to date. And thirdly, you have to make sure that you prepare using the job specification and also knowing a little bit at least about the organization that you're interviewing at. Right. So number 3, authenticity. This is one bit that a lot of us don't tend to embrace. An interviewer sitting on the other side of the table wants to see you the way you are. No matter who you are, the interviewer can see through you, especially highly skilled interviewers or hiring managers. Be authentic. Share your journey very authentically. You don't have to sugarcoat anything. You don't have to tell a tale to be liked. Just come as you are. When I interview, this is what I look for. I look for candidates who would tell their story very genuinely. For example, someone was interviewing with me and said, I'm the first person that went to the university in my family. That's being authentic. That's telling your story the way you are. So for that kind of individual, I wanted to learn more. I said, tell me more. So that's authenticity. So be authentic. Number 4, answer questions straight to the point. Short, precise, and clear. Make it simple. No beating around the bush. Just go straight to the point. Give direct responses when needed, right? Number 5, never ever badmouth your boss, your current organization, or belittle the current role you have. We all want to be managers, directors, executives, and we all love the very big titles. However, it's also important to know that sometimes there's always a starting point. Whether your starting point, like myself at one point, was on the shop floor in Marks and Spencer, it doesn't mean that this is what you will always do. So if I come into an interview saying to the interviewer, God, when I worked at Marks and Spencer, I hated it. The interviewer will be thinking, all right, maybe eventually they will hit this job here in this organization. So be careful when you interview and what you talk about as well. Number 6, know your why for wanting the opportunity. Why do you want to work for this organization? Very, very important. And sell the why and tie that into the organizational value. So for example, some of the values in some organization would be maybe leadership, would be integrity. Demonstrate that you have those qualities when you interview. All right. Number 7, end strong. Always end strong. Energy, be warm, be friendly, be open, end strong, and maintain that throughout the interview process. Then thank them for their time and off you go, right? There's more. Let's check it out. Dr. Akuna came with this ideal that we can touch on all these pointers in 45 minutes. And I'm glad that I was able to summarize everything here, because we could teach all these things for about 3 hours or more. So how to answer difficult questions. All right. You need to do a little bit of research based on the job specification you've been presented. So for example, if the job I'm applying for is all about administration management or team leadership, or maybe to be just like me, someone in HR or a program manager or project manager, you need to understand the job specifications. The way you answer your questions should be wrapped around that job specification. You see, from a job description perspective, someone sits down with the hiring manager and design the job specification. In the UK, it's called the person specification. So in that person specification, it shows a picture of the kind of person they are looking for. Someone who has these specific qualities. So for example, teamwork, leadership, collaboration, stakeholder management, on and on. So how do you answer difficult interview questions? I said here, tailor your responses to STAR, which is situation, task, action, or result. Or SAR is the short one, which is situation, action, and result. In simple words, what I'm saying is you have a situation. Then what actions did you take? What effort did you put into that to resolve that situation? And finally, what result did you achieve? So you're going to make it look like something you've done in the past, not something you think you would do in the future. They want to see someone who can demonstrate they've done something similar to what they are looking for. This is what is called experience or skill, right? So for example, I wrote one here. Because this is a learning institution, we have a lot of emerging talent here, of course, very highly skilled professionals as well. So you can give an example like this. This is just an example. You can tailor your own responses to suit the situation at hand or the questions you are being asked. Right, so you can give an example to say, I led my colleagues, a group of 10, to present our project work in front of a class of 30 and to 2 lecturers, right? That's the situation. Now, action. I decided to use the short form, the SAR, because of time, obviously. Action. As the leader of the project and to ensure that we work as a team, I'm demonstrating teamwork there. I delegated sections of the presentation to each team member, and we discussed our ideas in a series of meetings. So it means we've met a couple of times before. I, as the leader, delegated some of this task to my teammate. After an extensive research and practice sessions, our group presentation went off without a hitch. So that was the action you took. Let's break that down. I'm the project leader managing a project. I'm also managing my team members. I delegated to them. I'm demonstrating leadership in that particular response. And then we decided to meet. That is also coordination, demonstrating coordination, sharing ideas in a series of meetings, leadership, teamwork, delegation, collaboration, and finally, we did a group presentation without a hitch, taking me, the listener or the interviewer, from A to B to C to D. And finally, the result that we got, as a result of our hard work and team effort, we all achieved A in our presentation. I'll take it back a little bit. I've demonstrated how to answer difficult questions using SAR, situation, action, or result. Or if you want, situation, task, action, and result. It's still the same thing. I personally, when I interview, I tend to use the shorter form. I tell a story of a situation at hand. So for example, if you're applying for a customer service role, you could chip in maybe a difficult customer ranking. What did you do? The action. I calmed them down, and I calmed myself down. I listened to them, and I went through a step-by-step process with them. Result, I helped them resolve the situation at hand by placing a new order for them or placing a refund for them. Always tailor your responses using the STAR technique. The STAR technique is very popular in the marketplace, whether you're looking for a junior role or a senior role or just a mid-level role. You can use that to stop rambling or to prevent yourself from going too far away from the response you want to give. You can leave me your questions in the chat. We'll start taking questions in a bit. So now, how to negotiate pay at interviews. Let's face it, the reason why we work is for us to get rewarded. Of course, to do what we love, to find fulfillment and purpose, but also to be able to pay our bills and take care of our families. So, how to negotiate pay at interviews. Research how much the job is worth first, or have an idea. Range is always good. For every job in the marketplace, there's a range. So for example, someone who has like 1 to 2 years experience could earn, say, £30,000 on the same job that someone else would take on and earn about £45,000. The person earning £45,000 could have like 5 to 6 years experience. The person with 2 to 3 years experience could earn, say, £38,000 or £40,000. So that is the range. They will say the range will be from £30,000 to £45,000. The least experienced person would earn £30,000. The mid-level experienced person would earn, say, £40,000. And the highly experienced person will earn £45,000. So, based on your own experience and skills, your years of experience and skills, do a little bit of research to understand what the job is worth, right? And then go on and present yourself as the candidate by preparing who can earn the maximum amount in that threshold, right? So you can also use platforms like Glassdoor or Salary.com to research what a job is worth. If you don't have access to that, you can ask people who currently sit in that kind of role. So for example, if I'm applying for like HRBP role in a different organization, all I need to do is go on LinkedIn, do a little bit of research, and find someone who sits in that role and chat with them. You want to know how much they currently are earning, and don't forget your experience and skills do matter, will determine how much you will earn, because you need to bring substance to the table for you to earn much more. All right? So always remember not to rush to accept any offer if you're not sure about how much it is worth. I think one of the mistakes career professionals make is that because we're really keen to take on a job, we just agree to a salary we're not happy with. And then 6 months later, we'll begin to look at it from a perspective, God, petrol, bills, traveling, and all that then we want to opt out. So always ensure that the salary you're being offered can take care of your lifestyle, at least to a very decent level. Our employers, their plan is really not to make us rich, but they want to pay us the value of our skills and experience. So always understand that before you move forward. If you're happy, accept it. If you're not happy, there will always be other opportunities in the marketplace. So do your research. Why do good candidates fail interviews? This one is a tricky one. And when I saw this headline, I was just like, wow, that's a good one. Because sometimes, or a lot of times, very talented individuals can actually assume that they would pass their interviews without preparing. So I said here, if you do not prepare well, no matter how smart you are, if you don't prepare well, you fail. We all know this popular saying, failing to plan is planning to fail. Even at your interview, it's not too different from maybe Communications 201. If you've been giving your lesson notes and you don't study, you go into the exam hall, you will fail, right? I know there are very smart people here. They would never do that, right? So prepare. If you don't prepare, you are likely not to pass your interview. So number 2, other factors. Self-doubt, like I'm not good enough. Fear, failure to connect with the interviewer. Let's touch on self-doubt. A lot of us tend not to believe in ourselves, even though we think we can. Some of us don't apply. Some of us will feel like, well, why apply? Because I know I'm not going to get it anyway. Some of us will be like, well, I've applied, but I don't think I'll get it anyway, right? Then fear. Fear can really grip an individual. Maybe the fear of talking on a platform like this, which we all had to learn in the face of pandemic, or fear of meeting new people, or fear of talking too much about yourself or selling your skills and experience, because as someone interviewing for a job, you become like a salesperson. You need to talk about yourself, your skills, your experience. But like I said, no matter what you do, keep it simple and be authentic, right? Don't let fear grip you, and that's why you should prepare. To tackle fear, do things like prepare, plan to arrive early or to the venue, whether in person or via Zoom. Rest well the previous night, and prepare yourself, what you wear, your shoes, your clothes and everything. Get everything ready. So in the morning, you just wake up, dress up and show up. It helps minimize things like fear. Right. And then failure to connect with the interviewer. I know that sitting on the other side of the table can be challenging for some than the other. So I think one of the best things to do is to connect with the interviewer. And one of the best ways to do that, which I'm going to touch more on my next slide, is to research the interviewer. So for example, if I want to learn more about anyone on this call now, or you want to learn more about me, there's a public forum, a public space, a public channel, LinkedIn. You can go there and learn more about me. When I'm interviewing, no matter what the role is, I go onto LinkedIn, research my interviewer. What do they like? Do they have children? I interviewed recently in Twitter, and I realized that the person who will be interviewing me has a 2-year-old because they wrote a funny story about that baby. Right. I interviewed again last year, LinkedIn. I realized that my hiring manager potentially sits in the UK and they watch football a lot, soccer. So it was an opportunity for me to connect with them like I knew them before. So do a little bit of research and try to connect with the interviewer. It helps you to even settle down and reduces fear as well, if you get to know them a little bit. So don't just know the organization or the job you're applying for. Also learn more, a little bit about your interviewer. It helps you. And number 3, sometimes it's out of your hands. So Sometimes for the same role an external candidate is applying for, you also have internal candidates applying for the same role. I remember in 2018 when I was returning back to work after a long 6 years of career break as a mom. I applied for a particular role that I liked, and they wrote back to me. They said an internal candidate got it, so it's out of my hands. But because I liked the organization at the time, I looked for another role and I applied again. And I thanked them at the time to say thank you so much for letting me know that I didn't get the position this time. I applied again, and the rest they say is history. So sometimes you don't get a role, or you assume you failed an interview because of referrals. So what is referral? Referral simply is, so I'm on this call now because Dr. Kuna referred me. So that's referral. So if there was someone else who you don't know as much, you probably will consider them less. Referral really is an opportunity for internal employees to recommend to the organization people in their professional network. Why? Employers love referrals because it's been proven to help the organization find the perfect talent. Number two, it helps them to reduce the time and cost of hiring. And finally, referral has been proven to be one of the best ways to retain talent within the organization. So sometimes you don't get a job, you didn't get an offer because someone else has been referred to that position. It could also be that the hiring manager or the company has decided to go into a different direction. Sometimes they advertise a role and due to some internal constraints, maybe budget for that role, they decide to pull out the role from the marketplace. So what that means is you won't proceed or progress on that interview process. So sometimes it's not always your fault that you don't get a job. It could just be a lot of factors that you can't control, and that's the truth. So, but for you not to fail an interview, prepare. If you've been called for an interview, prepare so you can pass that interview, all right? If you ever apply for a job and you fail that interview, use it as a learning curve. And some people will be here thinking, this lady speaking will never fail an interview. I'm telling you, I experienced setbacks too. I failed an interview before. In fact, an internal interview. That's because I didn't have enough experience and skill for that particular role. But I used it as a learning curve. So what should you do? Get feedback for why you didn't pass the interview, and then work on why you didn't pass the interview. Did the interviewer say that you need more experience and skills? Do they say something in the line, oh, we want someone who can lead a team? Maybe you don't have team leadership experience. Go get that kind of experience, right? And then reapply again. It could be that they said something in the line of, oh, you didn't demonstrate well how you worked effectively as part of the team. Go and learn how to work as part of the team, and use the STAR approach to design your response for next time. Maybe they've shown that maybe you don't have more technical ability. If you're into tech or engineering, why don't you just pick up maybe a certification to learn that skill? Because there are different ways of learning: by studying, by shadowing other people, by taking a charity opportunity. Just build skills in many different ways. Yeah. And finally, how do you know the right questions to ask your interviewer? Yeah, right. So, like I said from the start, the job description, the job specification is a very important or vital document in your job search journey. And it will help you understand some of the questions that you should ask your interviewer or the hiring manager. I always say 3 questions is good in your interview because you don't have all the time in the world. But 2 questions is perfect because that way you are not taking or wasting so much time. Example of some of the questions I personally ask are, what type of person are you looking to bring onto your team? Is a good question. This is when the interviewer would say something in the line of, we are looking for someone with strong teamwork experience, someone who can hit the ground running, someone with leadership experience, someone who can collaborate cross-functionally, someone who can manage stakeholders internally and externally, and on and on and on like that. So, as soon as your interviewer says something in the line of, oh, we're looking for someone with this experience, this is the time to jump in and tell them you are that person. Give an example. For example, I led a sales team of 20 salesmen, and in year 2021, I helped my organization meet a target of £500,000. That's just an example. The hiring manager will sit down there and be like, oh, that's the kind of person I'm looking for. As soon as you ask this question, if they tell you what they're looking for, make sure to jump in there and tell them you're that person. The person specification, very important. So I shared a little bit on this one before. Number 2, I said, I looked you up on LinkedIn and I can see that you have been here in this organization for 5 years. What has been your highlight of your journey so far in this organization? You also want to understand the culture of the organization you want to work at. So what that would mean is, for example, if I want to learn more about your institution, I can reach out to Dr. Kuna and say, tell me a little bit more about this institution, right? So you also want to gauge the energy. Is it a cultural fit for you? If I work here, will I be happy? It's an opportunity to ask more about the organization you want to join. And when they share their experience with you, you can also jump in. That's fantastic. That's good to know. That's also connecting with the person on the other side of the table, your interviewer, to let them know that you're really excited about the organization. You like what they've shared about the organization, starting from an associate, now they're a senior manager. Is an opportunity to show excitement, drive, passion, and to let them know that you are that person that should join that organization. Number 3, you can simply ask, what's the structure of the team and who do I report to? This is something you need to know. You want to be sure who will be your manager. Do you need to report to 15 people before you reach your manager? Or you have a direct line manager? The job you want to take on must also suit your own needs. It's not all about getting a job. It also must suit your own needs, your lifestyle, your career ambition, and also where you want to see yourself in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. This manager, are they able to give you what you are looking for? Is also important to ask by asking, what is the structure of the team? And number 4, what would you consider success in this role? This is an opportunity for you to also sell yourself. When I use the word sell, not sell, it's just to tell more about yourself, your skills, your experience, your expertise. What do you consider success in this role? They could say something in the line of, we're looking for someone who would come in and manage junior team members. This is your opportunity to also share more, to say, when I was in college, I was responsible for leading all the team projects, which resulted in all my team members and myself to score A's in all our core courses. You see that? You don't have to have a lot of experience outside of the workplace. You can use your experience as a student, amplify them, and maximize them in an interview setting. So finally, is there any responses you would like me to clarify or expatiate on? This is when you have the final opportunity to talk more about yourself. So for example, maybe the hiring manager wasn't convinced that you have maybe leadership experience or team work experience or functional collaboration experience. This is a time for you to share more that you are that person with that leadership experience, with that teamwork experience, with that collaborative experience, and on and on and on like that. And finally, wrap up with a smile, thank them for their time, and finish up with drive, that you are truly keen to join their organization. Interviewers love that. I love that. And very many people love that. And you also have to know that interviewers are not looking for perfection, because nobody's perfect. They just want someone who can demonstrate that they've prepared, they understand the job specification, they know a little bit about the organization, and they can come in and be a great addition to that organization. That's what recruiters are looking for. That's what hiring managers are looking for. And that's what interviewers are looking for. And that brings me to the end of my very long talk. And I guess I'll come back to you, Dr. Kuna. And if there's any questions, we can ask them. And before we jump into the questions, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I share a lot of content on there around career and life, and much more on subjects like this. So I'm always there.
I particularly like the star and the star structure. It just gives you a structure in your head that you can use to structure your responses. I can see a few hands raised. Okay.
Where we go. Just a quick one, because you mentioned earlier about negotiating, what you'd want for the job, and that's always I've always found that awkward, because they offer the job, you don't want to go in there sort of feeling, I've kind of made them think badly of me now, because I'm now to negotiate a pay when they've already told me how much you'll be getting for that role. So I just wondered, is there a kind of a way of doing it so it doesn't look too cheeky, or a bit kind of like, I don't know, I always feel as if they might think, I must think I'm more important or something, but is there a way of doing it so it doesn't make me feel like sort of awkward asking for it? Because sometimes I regret saying that, I regret asking for it, because of my years of experience in doing what I do, and having to start from the beginning again, it just seems a bit unfair. But I also feel very cheeky asking for almost like a pay rise before as I've just got the job.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And I think we touched on this very briefly. We've all been there. Please, Pam, don't ever feel like you're alone. I think in this journey of life, we're all connected somehow. I've made those kind of mistakes in the past. That's why it's important, before you accept any offers, do some research. You can basically just go on Google, put in the job title, HR business partner in Luton, for example. Of course, Londoners tend to earn more because of the location. It's very costly to live in London. You can actually research by region or by area. So put your job title, you can go to Glassdoor, search for that job title, and have an idea of what that role is what. And also use your experience and skills, years of experience and skills, to quantify what you want to earn. So basically, if you've now taken the offer, a lot of times you do have a contract. So by law, you're binded by that contract. So very likely you wouldn't be able to change it. However, when you have your performance review or progression plan, or when you start talking about what you want to do next, you can bring up that conversation, and you can simply say things like, based on my research and given my years of experience and skills, I believe that I should earn, let's say for example, £50,000. The person speaking to you knows what the job is what, but because you agree to the terms and conditions of the contract, you have decided to take on that offer because you are happy with it at the time. So it's possible to change it in the future, but not immediately. The other option would be to begin to use your experience and skills to look for other opportunities somewhere else. There's always a way out, but always ensure to do your research first before you sign on the dotted lines. I hope that helped, Pam.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Very much. Dr. Muhammad? Thank you very much.
Sure.
That was really helpful, and I'd like to thank you more sincerely for sharing your experience with us this afternoon.
Sure.
I was really intrigued with your slides in terms of why do candidates fail interviews, and I'm looking at this from I suppose more a different perspective.
Sure.
I'm very interested in the equality, diversity, inclusion, and I think there's another reason sharing or staff share their lived experience. Sometimes it could be down to ethnicities, it could be down to the name of the candidate, and when they see the candidate, they may have bias view in offering the job. So what would be your advice to tackling bias and discrimination in recruitment, and how we improve diversity in that particular front? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. That's a fantastic question. And I think the world of employment now, recruitment is drastically changing. Right. I remember when I relocated here, it was a challenge. It's a challenge we have all been through. I currently sit in a position that actually promotes diversity and inclusion. Is the reason why I currently work in my current organization. So to help beat bias, I think one of the best things you can do for yourself is to be exceptional. Be so good that they can't refuse you. That's the magic. I know that we really can't change what anyone thinks. Whether I've been in a situation where I was recruiting and we had people from Asian origin. They are considered to be very, very strong in an area, and we have people who are from like India being categorized as being good in a particular area. Those were the kind of things I advocated for behind the scenes without nobody knowing. So in my time, we had more people like Dr. Mohammed on my team. We had more people who looked like me and sounded like me on my team because they're also talented. They are highly skilled. They have a lot of experience. They bring a lot to the table. They just have to be seen. So when you are seen by that interviewer, knock your interview out of the park, prepare, and make yourself also visible with your LinkedIn. Don't hide your talent. Don't hide your skill. A lot of us tend to do that. I don't do that anymore. I used to do that. Now I'm at the forefront of everything, telling my story, sharing my skills, experience, and my organization appreciates that. So be very good that they can't deny you.
That was very helpful. I always think that it's important for a recruitment panel to have diverse members on the recruitment panels from Black, Asian, minority, ethnic. It's really important to achieve and push that agenda forward to ensure that there's equality, because it's important from the other side for those who apply for jobs to see role models look like them.
Sure.
And if you can make it, then I can make it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's really important from that perspective. And also the inclusion of someone that is from ethnic minorities, Black, Asian, ethnic minorities, is also important to really offer some, if you like, additional, open the horizon of the recruitment panel. There are several examples I can share with you, and I'm talking about talented Black, Asian, minority, ethnic applying for jobs, and you hear disgraceful comments about their accent, for example. The names when they come in, the name is one thing, and then when they see them, it's another impression altogether. So those are lived experience of people who go through that, and we are looking for ways to improve it, to make it more positive and more equitable to everyone. But I'll take your comments on board. Thank you.
Yeah. Also, I always encourage people of color, ethnic minority, apply for opportunities that would also help you to sit in positions where you can make decisions as well. It was why I joined it from first degree and 2 first degrees in science, into human resources and especially into recruitment, I wanted to have an idea of what's going on. Why are people not getting jobs? Yeah. And what impact can I make? I always encourage people who look or sound like me to find those kind of opportunities so they can effect change from inside. It helps a lot. It helps a lot. Representation helps a lot. And this is why I'm online every day fighting that cause.
Can you hear me, Victor?
Sure.
Yes, I can.
Oh, hi. I have a class of 40 students listening to your fantastic presentation, MJ. They are postgraduate students that are listening. And we have a question for you, please. Sure. Why should we hire you? Is one of the questions that's always asked by very many employers. How would you best answer that?
Sure, absolutely. I guess aside the very important question, tell me about yourself. Yeah, like I said, I could teach this class for 3 hours, but we don't have all the time in the world. Maybe next time. Another question that is very important is, why should we hire you? What the recruiter is just asking you, or what the hiring manager is asking you there, is why you? Why you? It's not really all about your skills and experience. Sometimes it's just all about your personality, what you bring to the table. For example, I bring 10 years of professional working experience in diverse industry to the table, with 4 years leading a team of 45, additional 3 years of leading a sales team, which has brought in £1 million into my organization. And finally, from a personal perspective, I believe very much that this organization will be a perfect place for me to continue to grow my skills, my experience, and develop into a seasoned professional that I truly want to be. I'm really excited about the role, and I can't wait to join your team. See the way I answered that question? I didn't talk too much about so many things. I just picked on 3 specific things: 10 years of professional working experience, 4 years leading a team, 5 years leading a sales team, bringing in that amount of money. And personally, I've managed to link my own personal ambition to the organizational values. So think of the organizational value, what you bring to the table or what you can offer, and of course, your skills, your experience, and your expertise. That's what the recruiter, the hiring manager, is looking for. If you can shed like that, you are that person for the job. I hope that helped. Fazan.
Yes,
Fazan.
That's fine. Thank you, MJ.
You're very welcome.
We have another question if you have time to answer
Sure.
it. Is that okay?
Sure.
What are the pros and cons of some of the things that you can do in an interview? That was the question.
No, mostly the question asked by the interviewer, that tell me about your pros and cons about yourself.
About yourself?
Yeah, in the hiring interview. So what would be the possible answer? Like, pros can be like little good things, but how about the cons?
Okay, so the gentleman's asking just in terms of, if they ask you what are your pros and cons of your skill set, what could you answer?
Sure, absolutely. So let's go back to the job specification. In every job specification designed to find that particular person for that role, they've listed the kind of skills and experience they are looking for. You want to tailor your responses to match that. So, for example, if the job specification is looking for someone with 3 to 5 years of experience, but you don't have that, you can focus on other responsibilities listed on that particular job specification. So, for example, if they say they're looking for someone with leadership experience, you can tailor your answer to suit that. You can demonstrate that you work effectively as part of a team. You can talk about your collaboration experience. You can talk about your remote working experience, which is a new thing now in this time and age that we're working. Ensure to understand the job specification very well and call the keywords from that job specification. tailor your own response to suit. I'm not saying lie, I'm only saying tailor your experience to suit. So you need to understand job specification and spend some time by yourself to really think about how your own skills and experience do match that job specification. Yeah, that is the pros. On the cons, you see, a lot of times we want to appear as perfect. Like I shared before on this call, I've failed interviews before. I've made mistakes before accepting the wrong salary for a role I should be earning much more for. However, every time they ask for your weakness, so to say, speak about it. For example, one of my own weaknesses was not being able to speak in front of a large audience. What did I do to correct that? I created a YouTube where I would just share some of the things I know on camera. And by doing that over and over and over again, I built skills of public speaking and engaging with an audience that is very broad or wide. So you've talked about the weakness, and you've also talked about how you corrected that. It's as simple as that. We all have weaknesses, but look for something you've done to correct it. I hope that helped.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I think one of the questions that I would like to ask you, MJ, is in terms of interviews, when you get your feedback back, you do sometimes get the feedback saying you were too qualified, overqualified for that position. The majority of my students in the undergrad do say that if they speak too much or say too much, they are overqualified. And if they speak too less about their skills, then they're not qualified enough. How do you get the balance right?
Yeah. Well, this is what you call you read the room. Have you been in a situation whereby you were talking and you feel like the person on the other side is leaning forward? It's your time to lean forward. If they're pushing back into their seat, it's your time to push back into your own seat. If they're talking, talk. If they're quiet, be quiet. Okay? Without losing yourself, without feeling intimidated. The way to find the fine balance really is to focus on responding precisely, very sharp, very clear. Don't say too much. And that's why it's important to use that kind of SAR or STAR technique, even when you're not answering competency-based interview question. When you tailor your response like that, it gives you the room to control what you say and how much you share. It will help you to find that fine balance. I hope that helped.
Thank you very much. It did. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, over to you then, Dr. Kuna.
Okay, let me just ask one more question,
Sure.
then we'll let you go. If you had to start your career all over again, what would you do differently?
Not that I regret going to the sciences, but I shouldn't have done sciences. Sincerely, it was when I was younger. I was, of course, straight A student, humbly so, right? We were told that if you're that smart, you needed to be in sciences. So physics, chemistry, biology, and all that. But I just realized as I've gotten older that I should have done something like humanities or the arts. Yeah, because now I'm coaching people. Now I'm sitting in HR. Now I'm just doing everything people related. And I know that I'm going to be sitting in this space for a very, very long time, doing a lot of speaking, coaching more people to executive level. That's where I see my career going. So I didn't have any reason to go to the sciences. But having said that, sciences is great because you can basically do anything if you're coming from the science background. So, and that's why I still sit in a STEM space, supporting, connecting women in technology, helping young girls to do sciences. So that's the only thing I would change.
Fantastic, fantastic. What I got from that you will have prioritized self-discovery and allow that to guide in your career choice.
Sure.
Fantastic.
Sure.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, guys. Can we give her a round of applause? She's really so fantastic. It's wonderful with the responses, with the content as well. Really appreciate.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So we're going to definitely keep in touch.
Sure.
I'm going to place the call through to you, and then we'll keep in touch. And thank you all for my amazing colleagues. Many of them were here to support these as well. Who also invited as students. Thank you guys. Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you, Dr. Annie. Good to see you. And Abdisola, good to see you guys. I'm an amazing student as well. Really appreciate Fazana. Thank you for being here with your students. Janet, really, Olga, really appreciate all of you. Really appreciate all of you. Thank you, Debbie. I really appreciate and for your engagement as well. Thank you, everyone. Please have a great day, and we'll definitely be in touch.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.